everyone, Jocelyn here with another video about labels, I guess you could say. For those of you who saw the last video, this is what my hair looks like. And let's begin. So, hello YouTube. I felt the need to make this video to make some clarifications about certain labels that I use and how I live and intend to live my life. And this is something of a continuation of the videos I made before about sexuality and gender about a year ago when I first started, so I will link those down in the description. It'll be kind of interesting to see progress of what things were like a year ago compared to now. So let's start on the topic of gender. For those of you who are new or not aware, I recently came to the conclusion that I am non-binary. That means that I am neither a man nor a woman, and I felt very, very uncomfortable trying to live as both of those. But I do have personality traits of both. I prefer they, them, their pronouns. This is the description that I'm using of my gender identity. Okay, now my gender expression, which is a little bit different, is, on the other hand, it's usually either femme or neutral, with a flair for the playful. So you could say, in a gender-bending kind of way, bending expectations, and this makes me most comfortable at expressing who I truly am. It's a little bit besides the point, but included for clarification. Okay, again, if you didn't see the last video, go watch it, but if you didn't, this is what I'm wearing tonight. I'm gone very high femme today, but it's a special occasion and I like it, so why not? So let's now talk about sexuality, which is the main sort of topic of this video. So my sexual orientation is, and always has been, towards men. Before I realised I was trans, I considered myself a gay guy, because a man who likes other men is a homosexual, i.e. gay. And this didn't change when I first came out as trans, actually, because I was using the slightly inaccurate term transvestite to describe me. I still considered myself male, but, you know, wearing the opposite gendered clothing. Not realising at the time that, you know, because resources weren't as available or thorough as they are now regarding the subject of gender, that I wasn't just trans. It wasn't just I wasn't just transvestite, I was in fact transgender. But also, at this time, throughout my 20s, I had no intention of doing any actual physical transition for a few reasons, which I'll sort of get into in a bit. But I still fancied men, had relationships with men, and only exclusively men. Now that I know that I'm not a man, at least on the inside, and I do intend to do something about that on the outside, and again I'll come back to that. But I'm not a man, but I do like men. Why am I still then using the term gay to describe myself? Well, partly it's a bit of a hangover from all those years associating with the gay community as a gayer from Gayland. Woo! Also, it's because as someone who isn't 100% woman, I know that I'm not a straight heterosexual either. So in this sense, I'm using the term gay, like many in the LGBT plus community do now, use the word queer, i.e. describing someone as not straight, or more precisely, not cishet. So, to explain that, cishet is an abbreviation for cisgender and heterosexual. Cisgender is when somebody is identifies as the gender that correlates with the physical sex that they were born into and assigned at birth. And heterosexual is, of course, someone who is a man who loves a woman or a woman who loves a man. Also, just as an aside, not cishet. There's a lot less syllables and actually easier to say than LGBTQ plus 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 plus. Is that... it's not bad. Actually, no, it's fucking awful because it pushes cis heteronormativity. I'll explain what that is. So, cis heteronormativity is when the cultural expectation is that the default for people is cishet, both cis and hetero, which of course it does happen in the majority of cases, but it still shouldn't be the default position, and that's why that's problematic. Back on topic a little bit. Furthermore, the guys who are attracted to me aren't heterosexual, despite what some of them may say. So, I'm using the word gay simply just to mean not straight, because as a non-binary person, what is straight heterosexual for me? Like, what is my opposite binary gender? Like, there isn't one. The correct term for my sexuality is androsexual, and that means that someone who likes just men without any presupposition of the gender of the person described as such. And the equivalent for someone who is exclusively into women is gynosexual. Incidentally, my attraction to men, as I've learned about myself, extends as far as non-binary people who have something of a masc vibe, for lack of a better term, and it also extends to trans men. Now, I've often wondered why it was that I wasn't into other trans people like me. That is, a guy who's femme with a dick, right? I thought it was the result of some kind of internalized transphobia. That is, that, I like men with dicks, right? These people over here have dicks, but they're also trans, but I'm not attracted to them, therefore I must be transphobic. Turns out that's not actually the case. I was just seeing them as too femme to be attractive to me. And my limited interactions with trans guys, I mean, still to this day, fairly limited. More recently, both in real life, but more online, confirm that I in fact am not dealing with internalized transphobia. I'm just attracted to men, and that means all kinds of men, regardless of trans status, not, just not attracted to women, even the ones that society mistakenly led me to believe were men. So finally, I want to talk a little bit about transitioning. I want to talk about my plans for transition as a non-binary person. I've talked about it a little bit on here, but a recent conversation with a friend has made me realise that there are things that I haven't made completely clear. So, transition is not just for binary trans people. That is, it's not just about FTM and NTF. There's a lot of variation of identities in between. Also, transition is different for everyone. Think of it as a smorgasbord of options. You've got HRT, top surgery, lower surgery, FFS, this thing, that thing, whatever, right? And some trans people want everything available. A lot of us, like me, actually don't want everything. My goal is to remove my facial hair that I detest by burning the shit out of the follicles in the skin. And I intend to take hormones to try and feminize myself. Basically, the intention here is to grow some breast tissue. I know that doesn't happen for everyone, but it does happen in the majority of cases. As well as all those other good effects from estrogen, like the softer skin, the reduced body hair growth, the fat redistribution around the face and everything. Not that I have a mask face. I'm actually rather lucky that I turned out so androgynous. But that's it. That's it. That's all I want. Now, however, if I wanted to do everything available, that still wouldn't necessarily invalidate my non-binary status. And if a binary trans person doesn't want to do everything, it also doesn't invalidate their gender, because gender is the thing that's in our brains, in our personalities, not physically in our bodies. Transition is about doing what one can and what one needs to in order to make oneself feel at ease with one's own body. That's it. It's not about conforming to what society deems necessary to fit a certain gender role, or even what medical professionals of the past deem necessary to fit a certain gender role, because I believe that gender roles and norms are bullshit. So, there it is. I hope you enjoyed this video and learned a little bit and got clarity from this, if nothing else. That's my goal. So, until next time, I shall see you soon. Bye.